Verstappen fans excited to see their driver ready to give it all at the qualies. This is Jonathan Lev, and welcome to Saturday's recap of the Dutch Grand Prix. Pole position for Max Verstappen for a second consecutive year at the Dutch Grand Prix. After a tough Friday, seeing him off pace, Red Bull worked hard to get the car set up and ready for practice 3 as a close-fought final free practice session ended with Ferrari's Charles Leclerc setting the fastest time, marginally ahead of Mercedes' George Russell and home favorite Max Verstappen, ahead of Carlos Sainz. Now, Lewis Hamilton was 5th fastest, although he was affected by traffic in the form of Yuki Tsunoda, ahead of Sergio in 6th and Fernando in 7th. It was a better session for Mick Schumacher, who was 9th quickest overall behind Sebastian Vettel in 8th and ahead of Lando Norris in 10th. Moving on to quali, we saw Valtteri Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo, Kevin Magnussen, Sebastian Vettel, and Nicholas Latifi out in Q1. The top 6 in Q2 were separated by only 3/10. The top 10 only by 6/10. Impressively competitive. The biggest surprises going to Q3 were Lance Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda, and Mick Schumacher, as Aston Martin has been showing impressive pace despite Vettel's exit in Q1, as he said that on his final lap, he picked up some sand on his left side wheels on the entry to turn 13 and drifted offline and lost the car. Now, those eliminated in Q2 were Gasly, both Alpines, Zhou Guanyu, and Alex Albon. On to Q3, which saw Stroll not take part in it as they found a hydraulic leak that prevented him from continuing. Leclerc was up on Verstappen in Sector 1 on his last run and lost out in Sector 2 as he had to make a slight correction but pulled out a mega time in Sector 3 to give him a pole at the moment. Meanwhile, Verstappen crossed the line to beat Leclerc's time by only 21 thousandths of a second. Now, Carlos Sainz put in a good performance to round up the top 3 with a time that was only 9/100ths off the Red Bull driver. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez on his final run spun in the final sector, affecting both George and Lewis's final run, leaving them with the final places of 4th and 6th, with Checo in 5th. Behind them will be Lando in 7th, Mick in an amazing 8th place, with Yuki in 9th and Lance in 10th. That is all for this recap on what is to be hopefully a competitive day on Sunday's race. Now, both Mercedes always show great race pace, and if the delta proves to be the same as history has shown, it seems there will be a possible win available for Mercedes at the end. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on who you think will end up at the top of the podium. Thank you as always, and see you after the Dutch Grand Prix. Take care.